So hi everyone, this is Mary Kurek and I'm with Frontrunners Innovate magazine and network and also co-hosting some shows on the BWE network. And today's guests are Alana Stott and Pamela Bolado. And these two gals met via me some time ago, sometime in the last year. And interesting connections. I'll let them share a little bit about it, but Alana is kind of doing her own thing in California, but when I first met her, she was Mrs. Scotland, I believe, and living there and doing some wonderful work in charity there. And I think that was what brought us together initially. But she's a serial entrepreneur with a big heart for doing good works. And it's no surprise that she would kind of connect up with somebody like Pamela, who's also doing good works and also has a network and media platform. So I wanted to get you two together to talk about not only the meeting of when you guys met and sparks flew and you go, oh my gosh, we're synergies, lots of synergies, but also what it is about Spirit that you feel like brought you two together to have more business-like conversations and then impact types of conversations, and then what you guys are doing and where you're headed. So Alana, I'm going to start with you. So why don't you share a little bit about meeting up with Pamela and what took off for you from there? So share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you introduced me to Pamela, and it was to do an interview for her Wellness and Wisdom magazine. So that was the original connection. It was all during COVID, so it's all been done virtually, and we done the interview, we had a really good chat, and then I think it would have been around a few months later, we kept in touch, and then Pamela got back in touch regarding Women Who Do Wonders, and that was something that was really interesting to me because I loved the story around it, the theme around it, and that it was something that it's very similar to what I've been working on a few years prior with after the Mrs. World situation. So once Pamela had suggested that I get involved, I think I was almost in transition at that point over to here. It was kind of a no-brainer because there was that instant connection with her for many reasons. She's a very similar person to me. She's got the same kind of heart. She wants to do good. She wants to change the world. And I know that collaboration is super powerful. So it kind of was a no-brainer that coming over here, I would get involved with what she was doing. So that was how we met.
We're going to get back to you because you've had quite a whirlwind year yourself. Pamela, talk to us about this platform that you've built. First, let's get a little background on that. Give us the why and the what.
Okay, well, I moved to the United States in 2016, so I'm still kind of a newbie here. I'm a military wife, but I started doing events for women of the military in 2018. And then 2019, I created a platform for that summit called Women Who Do Wonders. So I was highlighting amazing women and then introducing them to the military, women of the military community. And then when COVID struck, that put a dent in doing any type of events anywhere. So then I ended up hosting a virtual summit, my very first ever virtual summit, and it went global. So I had, attendees from all over the world. And then I hosted a platform on there called Women Who Do Wonders. So I brought on the most sensational women. And then after that, I was like, man, I don't want to lose the momentum of this. How am I going to keep it going? So then I said, well, why don't I just create Women Who Do Wonders and see how it goes? So it became something from there. And I had the idea of, okay, well, how can I transform a summit, a magazine, sort of into this platform community? To build it globally. And then after I spoke to Alana, I was like, she's perfect. she's just amazing. And I said, that's the only thing I thought was, I think if I'm going to bring anybody on to stand beside me to do it, I think I'm going to ask Alana, because she's just, even in our conversations, just the same passions, yeah, so it was just a synergy, and we talked about it, and then we said, okay, that's it. And then we created the company in December, and it's been, definitely a learning what do you call it? um, yeah. Well, both of us have never, had that big of a community before, or created a community like that. So it's been a learning curve, and but we're launching and things are moving, and we've got the most incredible community partners, and it's just, we're small now, but the momentum's building every day. And we're talking to the most amazing people, and it's, our connections are going to combine, and we're going to build something pretty extraordinary.
The one thing I know about Alana, I think that attracts other people to her is that she's a doer, and that comes across. And I mean that in just every good way possible, is that, she puts action behind words. And I think that's so important when you're building any kind of network or any kind of business. And she knows that. And I think you just have to put some meat behind it and understand that what you're going for is not going to be easy. And you just have to do one foot in front of the other and kind of roll along, and then use role models of other people who are out there doing something similar to what you're doing, and go from there. So the types of women you guys are attracting to women who do wonders, tell me about that. And I assume that's going to be the name of the business, or is the name of the business, right?
It is. So the platform, the community platform, is Women Who Do Wonders International.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have, Alana's taking front reins on this one, but we're doing also our foundation, which is Mission Wonder Women Foundation. So it's under the umbrella of Women Who Do Wonders. But our community is it's female founders, community mission-driven women, and we're connecting them with NGOs and nonprofits around the world.
Okay. So the foundation part, tell me why you decided to do a foundation along with the business. I think that's interesting.
Alana,
Alana, you're on.
Yeah. So the business itself was always going to be set up as with a pay it forward model on it. So that was the big connection that we had anyway, that we were discovering that more and more businesses did want to get involved with paying it forward, that more people were realizing that it wasn't enough just to go and make money, that giving back was essential for the world and for your soul as well. If you've not got that purpose, then you're kind of wandering through life aimlessly a bit, I think. So we said that anything that we were earning in the platform, we would put back into good causes. So with that naturally came having a non-profit separate from the actual business, because we are philanthropists, but we're also business people as well. We want to make money and we want to do good. So we kind of separated both to keep that definition clear. So part of the profits from Women Who Do Wonders will go into Mission Wonder Woman, but Mission Wonder Woman will also fundraise in different ways. We'll also run campaigns. Our first one's going to be Embrace Your Scars. So myself and Pamela, one of our main connection was we both have lived with scars all our life, so, or most of our life in my case, but and the connection that we had when we were discussing it was so similar and different as well. We had very similar ways, memories of growing up and different ideas. But so the Embrace the Scars campaign was naturally our first one. Obviously, we did think about doing human trafficking ones, doing like various things crossed our mind, but we thought, no, this is a good one because we can both understand it to start with. So yeah, so it was important to have that separate platform that was very, very clear that it was a 501c3, and then this is a business, but both of them are doing good.
So when you do the Embrace Your Scars, that will be a campaign for the foundation to raise money for it, correct?
Yeah, so Embrace Your Scars, we're start working on that just now, and that's going to be it's going to be a fundraising and awareness and talking a bit more about embracing your scars basically, and the fundraising side of it is going to go to helping people. So with Pamela, it's cleft lip, that's her passion. So for Pamela, she says she just wants one little girl to feel happy when so it's about fixing that. We obviously want to do more than one, but that one will be enough. And for myself, I've been looking at burns hospitals and burns survivors, which I've been doing quite a bit of research in this week, and I actually couldn't believe that, because at home with the NHS, we've got the health service there. So when I was burned, I was given a pressure vest. I had to wear the pressure vest for a year. I had creams, I had surgeries, I had skin grafts, I had various things, still to this day getting different things over the years. But I didn't realize that if you didn't have the right insurance here, yes, they'll treat your burns, but you don't get the compression garments, you don't get all the other things. I've only just learned that this week, and I thought, what if I didn't have those compression garments, the pain and the stretching of the skin and everything else that would come. So the part of the money that we're going to raise will go to that, to helping burns survivors.
Okay, so I've got this thought rolling in my head. So we'll talk afterwards about one of our innovators that has a pain management tool that may want to help you with what you're doing. He's got a big heart. I think this would be awesome. So anyway, this always happens. Every time I get on a call with somebody, there's always
connection.
Well, and I've been talking to him this week, and that's my next kind of segue is I'm a believer in all things happening for a reason, and I don't believe there are any coincidences. I've just had way too many, let's just say, stories of evidence to the contrary. So it's just like I was saying, being able to talk to this person this week and wondering where that conversation was going, and then realizing a couple of days later, you guys show up and going, okay, now I know. I know where this is going. So I think that's you said it yourself, Alana, is collaboration, knowing the power of collaboration and how important it is, how powerful it is really key. And being able to help each other, being a mutually beneficial thing, is really important. So I want to go back, before I segue into the spiritual part of this journey, I want to go back to Pamela. Pamela, talk to me about your partners. Can you share a little bit about any partners that you feel like have already come on board? I don't want you to give away any secrets, or maybe you're still in talks, but if you can share anything about partnerships.
Yeah, so one of our bigger partners is Revolution Her. So I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're an organization out of Canada, but they support female entrepreneurship. They run amazing events. We actually, Women Who Do Wonders was just a community sponsor for their event that just happened over the weekend with Mina Harris. So they run phenomenal events and just support women, mompreneurs across Canada and around the world. So they've come on to step in. So our members, when they join us, because that's not what we do, we're not there to be business, the business platform. We're there for the philanthropy. So they've taken in that nugget of information. So all our members will get access to their business portal. So they've been this amazing partner to us and just supported us even when it was just an idea. So we love them, Revolution Her. And
chat me, if you will, at some point, or send me a link to that. I'd like to take a look at it.
Absolutely.
So as your platform is now, what does it look like? What does it entail? How can people engage with it?
Yeah, so people can go to womenwhodowonders.org. Right now, you'll see, what we're about, our mission, our vision, who our advisory council are, and we're still growing. You can read about what we're all about and what the membership will entail. So you can register and be a free community member, or you can sign in and become one of our founding associate members and get access to the vault, which is on the back end of the platform. And that gives just a master list of organizations around the world, just incredible connections as well. You get access to the advisors, and just tons and tons of tools on all of our pillars, whether it's ending human trafficking, gender-based violence, mental health and well-being. And we also have a pillar in there for women of the military and children.
So tell me what happened with the magazine. Are you still doing that?
I am. Yeah. I actually just wrapped up the final touches on this next issue that comes out on Wednesday. It's 80 pages of awesomeness that's coming out, and I'd say this is, all the issues that I've put out have been phenomenal, but I'm really proud of this next one that's coming out, and just meeting the most incredible women around the world. It's just, it's inspiring. It inspires me to make it, so I'm excited to share it. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So talk to me, since you're on camera right now, Pamela, let's start with you. Talk to me a little bit about the spiritual process to creating this. I understood that, the natural sort of organic way, the natural way that this occurred, but is there some connection to spirit or an aha moment that you went, yeah, this is what I need to be doing, and I know it's the right thing, and I know it deep in my soul, and that sort of thing? Or was it just a natural progression of things that from one job or one business or one, bit of work to another?
I think it was just the progression. And then I think once I started doing summits and seeing the impact that just putting on those events did for the women, from the first one that I did, I was like, oh, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life, is just host, big dinner parties. And events, that's all I want to do, because everybody's smiling and happy, and everybody leaves, feeling empowered and amazing. And I was like, why wouldn't I want to do this for the rest of my life? Because I'm a master esthetician by trade. I mean, that's what I've done for the last 20 years. Overseas and in Canada. I've been licensed in 4 countries. And I love treating people, and I'm oncology trained, and I do work for girls with cleft lips and palates. But this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, because it makes me feel good.
That's fantastic. So Alana, how about you? Weigh in.
Yeah, back to your everything happens for a reason, but I think that was, me and Dean were just chatting about it yesterday, that we'd applied for, there was a point that I thought, I'm going to go and just get an actual job. This was before COVID and everything else.
Yeah.
I actually did apply for some jobs within the human trafficking industry. I thought, I'll try and do it this way, rather than, and it's always been at that point where we've said, shall we think about just getting a job and just being like normal people, that something big will happen and something else will come up. And we say that, when one job that I got turned down for, and I was a bit upset at the time, and Dean was like, this is the reason, because if you'd taken that job, we would probably have not been able to get over here and everything. And I said, yeah. Whereas working with Women Who Do Wonders and Mission Wonder Woman, I get to still do all the things that I wanted to do. Working in quite a male-dominated environment, which is where I normally am with the security world and everything else.
Yeah.
It's just great to be able to do this. And I also think that in the spiritual aspect of it, I don't know if it's just me because I'm working in this just now and I'm doing this, but there just seems to have been a huge shift in the last week of women empowerment. There, since, I think even since Meghan's Oprah interview and the International Women's Day, there seems to be things happening and things moving that I've never really seen before. And, men as well are standing up and saying that, these things need to change. And I'm seeing that change. And now that I'm actually part of this as well, you're part of the change, which is amazing.
I think that's great. You brought up Meghan's interview, and I was just listening to a part of it a while ago, and it surprised me. And it was so sincere about how desperately miserable she had gotten to be, to the point where she was thinking about suicide. And you felt it from her when she was speaking those words. And I thought, she's not alone. And her situation was her situation that presented the combination of things that made her feel that way. But there's other people around the world that have their own sets of circumstances and situations that are making them feel the same way. Trapped, unable to can't see the way out, can't see a way to get help. There's just literally no way to win. And I think that the mental health part of that, when you and Dean were doing the fundraiser for Prince Harry for the mental health, I think Heads Together was the name of the mental health nonprofit. Yeah. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, wow, it was like prophetic or something that he would be involved in something like that, because I really think mental health, especially in women's cases, around.
It was a huge, I think the biggest thing that we took from it, and there was so much to take from it, but the biggest thing was that, we'd raised $1.2 million and she couldn't get help. We'd raised it for them and they didn't help one of their own. I mean, that really, it really got us last week. We really were disappointed in that. But I don't think it was the royal family per se. I think it was the institution that's,
call it that. It's the environment that's been created by what you call the institution. Yeah. So,
and it was, I think now that we're over in California and we're looking outside into what's happening in the UK, and you know, the mixed reaction of her. You know, I think in America they've really embraced the couple. You know, they're excited for them. They want them to do well. That doesn't resonate with some of the opinions over. And now that we're able to see from an outsider looking in, it's like, no, that is wrong. It needs to change. You know, a lot of people will say that the monarchy is the way it is. You know, then it's always been that way, and you know, it should be accepted. And it's like, well, actually, no, nobody should feel trapped or have their passport taken from them or anything in any situation. And it's one of the most famous families in the world are allowing it. When
yeah. You know, it's interesting because I just did an interview with a traditional princess out of Africa, and she's young, and she was raised in London, educated in London. She became an attorney, and then ended up going back home to Zambia. And she said all her life with this traditional, you know, title that she's had, she hated it. She didn't want to have anything to do with it. She tried to push it away. And then she gets back to Zambia, her home area, and suddenly there it is right in front of her, and cannot get away from it because that is the area, the region where her, you know, where the royalty in her family was situated. So all the eyeballs on her, right? And, you know, you better be a good role model. And, you know, and she's trying to be a young mother. And I think she ended up with a divorce. That was something to deal with in the public eye, you know, for her. And then she became a judge. So she sat on the judicial bench there. And again, just more of the same eyeballs on you. So for her to be able to have a career to bloom anywhere, she really was either going to have to embrace that moniker, that label, or just hide, just hide somewhere. So interesting.
Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I don't mean to jump out, but I'm going to have to just. Dean's still on the call.
Tell Dean I said hello. Tell Dean I said hello.
One thing
Pamela, you're on. So yeah, so what I'm thinking is there are those people who, those women particularly, that have that kind of situation where they do feel trapped, and the responsibility is really on their shoulders. And I'm hoping Meghan will take up the reins and realize she spoke on behalf of all those women when she said that. And so she's, you know, she's in it now to be that kind of role model, or at least open the door to those conversations that have not been talked about before. So that's good. And I hope your magazine, I'm sure it will bring out some of those types of topics and you know, conversations for all of us to dig into. So tell me where we're headed with this. I mean, you said you're kind of new and growing, you're young and growing with the whole effort. Lana's now working on putting together the foundation for you. So where are we headed in 2021? What do we want to see?
Well, I mean, it's tough because now everything is virtual. So when you're launching something, I mean, launching something global, it's good to be virtual, but I mean, I love personal touch and I love getting out there and meeting people. So we're trying to be strategic. We're trying to figure out how we're going to, you know, blossom this, you know, by doing everything online. But it's been pretty great. We've been learning on how to leverage a lot of the different social networks. And actually next week is the launch of the actual back platform, which was delayed just a bit. So our associate members will all get the access to the back end of the vault, which has like data and tons of information that I had mentioned, especially if you're an organization or a woman that wants to start implementing philanthropy into your business or into your community. It's a great, just the tools are incredible. So yeah, we're just going to go one step at a time and one day at a time and bring in community members one at a time, and then just let ourselves we're grassroots, and we're going to let ourselves grow the way it's supposed to grow. So we're not going to rush into anything. We're going to let things happen as they go.
So what kind of partners would you be looking for if somebody's listening and they might be interested?
Well, any organizations that can really complement what we're doing. I mean, we have community partners like Flick, who is also an organization in Canada, who they match mentors with women. So we have them as a partner. Like I said, Revolution Her is a partner. We have Beauty Heroes. The founder is a very good friend of mine, but she runs an organization that's completely sustainable, and she encourages all beauty businesses to also be 100% sustainable. So we're trying to bring on partners that match what our pillars focus on. And not only are we supporting women and children, but we're also making sure that both Mission Wonder Women and Women Who Do Wonders are completely sustainable. So we're trying to offset all of our emissions. We're planting trees for every member that comes on. So we're trying to do our part and pay it forward in every way that we can.
That's great. You know, I was thinking about somebody else that you brought up something that made me think about another person, so I'll give you that one a little bit too. Is there anything moving beyond this year that you see ahead? I keep asking that because I think I have something in my mind, but do you, and maybe you have you know how I am, Alana. You may not even have it on the drawing board yet, but if you had your wild wish in say 2 or 3 years, and we're hopefully past the pandemic, would you be heavy into the summits and events at that point?
I would love that.
Okay, because I feel that from you. I feel it.
Yeah. And also my goal is to have, or our goal is to have, you know, a partner in every country. So we have a Women Who Wonders partner, as in you know, that community.
So is that an individual, or is that a business? Or does it matter?
It would be an individual who could run the organization from that area. So we have connections all over the world.
Like a country
so
head. Country head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good to know. So this new campaign, Alana, that you are working on for the foundation, that's Embrace Your Scars. You're in the planning mode of that? Are you planning for it in the spring? Give me a little bit of a timeline. And
yeah, so we're probably looking at about 3 months from now till the from a month from now would be hoping to launch it, and then we would do a couple of months worth of a campaign. Right now we would be looking for anybody who wants to get involved sponsorship wise, and that can be not just
I love it.
If it's not yours, it's mine, Alana. So
Dean's ended up
dog is that? Okay.
Dean's working on a podcast at the minute. He's running the podcast. I've come on this. Molly's meant to be at school, and this one.
I love this. This is so perfect.
This is real life right here.
Hi, sweetie. Okay.
I'll tell you the story though, Mary. While
I'm going to mute so that.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I'm going to tell you the story because you introduced Alana and I wanted you to know this. So I think I love it because I keep mentioning it, but you're the person that I want to tell because you introduced me to Alana. So I'm 100% convinced that somehow Alana and I are related. And the reason, because as we started talking and getting connected more, my maiden name is McKay. So I knew that my family was from Scotland. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've done all the research over the years, and my family's very connected to their Scottish roots in Canada. Yeah. And so I brought that up and I said, you know, my maiden name is McKay, and Alana didn't say anything the first time we spoke. And then she said later on, after we spoke another time, she goes, I just wanted to let you know that my mom's maiden name is McKay.
Oh, geez.
So I was like, I just, we don't know for sure. We haven't done any kind of anywhere. But I'm pretty convinced that, I mean, we're McKays and we're from Scotland, so there has to be some connection down the road there. But
I love working with, and I mean, I'm not religious per se, but I'm very spiritual, and I love working with energy, and I think that it's the same with myself and Dean. When Dean first met me, you know, he was from London, I was from Scotland in Aberdeen. Aberdeen's like a pretty small city compared to the rest of the country. And after his dad passed away, sadly, we found out his dad still had a sister that was still alive in Australia. And we ended up meeting her family, and we, you know, an incredible bond now with all their family, and they've got, you know, kids and everything. And she came over to visit us, and she said, my mum and dad are from just 60 miles away. So this was Dean's dad's mum and dad, who he didn't know really. Like, Dean never met them. They passed away when his dad was really young. And then we found out that where we got married, the graves were on the grounds of where me and Dean got married. Yeah, and neither of us
had no idea.
no idea.
Oh, wow.
And it was almost like Dean had been brought back to where it all started. So I'm a big believer in that. So I think there is a reason that Pamela and me were meant to come together. And even when we look at pictures of all our sort of older generations, the looks are very similar. I mean,
you absolutely must find out. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you got to find out.
Well, I keep getting these old pictures and sending them to Alana, and then she's like, I see the resemblance of my grandfather, you know?
Yeah. My container's still floating around the middle of the ocean somewhere with all the pictures in it. So once I've got that, I'll be able to get them out. But definitely and I think, well, I'm quite tall, but most of the Mackay side of the family are all quite short. So Pamela fits nicely.
That's where I come in.
You're the oddball. Okay. What a great story. Yeah, I do think you guys need to figure that out. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you know, you definitely need to figure that out for sure. So I don't know if it's a 23andMe test or whatever you got to do.
Well, I mean, if it does pan out that way, just know that you made the connection.
Well, you know, again, destined, you know, it's destined. That's the way it is. Well, this is great. So there's more reasons than just one or two why you guys are connected and why this is going to be successful. It wouldn't be that you guys got together and it not be successful. So you know that now. It has to be. This is great. I think that the impact that you guys are going to make is going to be terrific. And I think just, I know you'd be happy if you fixed one cleft palate for somebody, and what that one person, that little girl or whatever, would do with that experience would be tremendous. But we're going to hope for a whole lot more than that. And we're going to do everything we can to help you get there. So we'll put out whatever information we can put out to help you do that, to get the word out about your events. We're going to, you know, connect you every way that we can to help you achieve what you're trying to do. So thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. For everybody watching, you're probably watching this either on BWE Network or on Frontrunners Innovate, www.frontrunnersinnovate.com. And please come back and visit us, and we will probably check in with these two ladies as they get ready to launch their charity and see what's up then. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Bye.